Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to the deck tech for blue-white control with Jace the Mind Sculptor. Let's talk about the deck right now, okay? So, I already played the matches. So, again, I played the matches against my good friend Richard here. Now I'm doing the deck tech afterwards, right? So, I'll do my best to keep any, bias out of it because I already knew what happened. But, again, let's just talk about the deck, right? Okay, what does Jace do for blue-white control? In my opinion, it does a lot. And I'm going to say the big reason why is because we have a ton of shuffle effects built into what our deck already does. And we do lack that card advantage engine from a Planeswalker. Jace Architect of Thought did this a little bit, but not consistently, right? So that's what I like about Jace the Mind Sculptor, and it obviously has so much more utility, right? It's a Brainstorm, it's Balance a Creature, it's Fate Seal, and it's a win condition, all in one. And our deck does a great job, especially going long, that Jace the Mind Sculptor is absolutely, a very realistic win condition, right? So let me back it up a little bit in case you didn't see my previous video of Sultai Jace. So I'm doing a preliminary series here with two decks that I think Jace could fit really well into. That was Sultai Midrange and Blue-White Control. You can catch the Sultai video. It should be on my channel already if you're watching this, so go ahead and check that out. But Jace the Mind Sculptor just got unbanned in Modern, and it was actually one of the cards that I believe was preemptively banned in the Modern format, right? So, it was there since its inception, since the format's inception, but now we have it's unbanned in Modern, and we can play with it, right? Unfortunately, it's not legal on Magic Online yet, so what I'm going to do is run him through some matches with a good friend of mine, Richard, and so we can, see how Jace the Mind Sculptor performs in one match, in one matchup with one deck here, right? And so you saw the Sultai Jace matchup versus Green-White Elves, in which we went, one match win, one match loss, and now there's the Blue-White Control matchup here versus I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Well, I'm probably it's just gonna be against RG Tron. All right, guys, I spoiled it for you. It's gonna see how Blue-White Control with Jace the Mind Sculptor is able to beat the RG Tron variants, right? If it's able to beat them at all, right? Jace the Mind Sculptor, not necessarily relevant in a matchup like Tron. I mentioned in the Sultai video, that card doesn't do great against big mana matchups. It's just not where it shines. However, Blue-White Control definitely has tools to beat RG Tron as it is. So, we'll see if Jace helps the percentage in any way, shape, or form. Alright, so in terms of the deck list here, it's pretty stock. 4 Path, 4 Serum Visions, 4 Spreading Seas, 2 Search for Azcanta, 1 D-Sphere, only 2 Mana Leak, 1 Negate, so I know most lists play like at least 3 Mana Leak, a Negate, and sometimes even a Spell Snare. Or like 3 Mana Leak, a Spell Snare. What I did was actually just play a Wall of Omens, 2 Mana Leak, Negate, and I like Wall of Omens with Jace because, whoops, I'll get Jace back in there here, but give me 1 second. Anyways, as I was saying, I like Wall of Omens with Jace because he can protect him over, say, something like Ruined Halo or another, counter spell. But that's just my analysis. I'm not necessarily saying Wall of Omens is good, but especially if the metagame gets more aggressive, we do want to have the tools to protect our Planeswalkers. And the rest of the list is pretty stock. Only change here is 1 Wrath of God to Supreme Verdict, and that is stock in some ways. A lot of lists play 3 Supreme Verdict, but some do diversify it. Remember that the 5-color Humans matchup is the main reason we diversify our sweepers. Also, the regen clause can be quite relevant in some cases. Then we have 1 Vendilion Click here as well. Again, it's an important clock game 1 as well as disruptive, and it gets even better because sometimes we are a tap-out control deck. Blue-White Control does a lot of tapping out, and it just lets you know, look, the coast is clear for Gideon, Jura, Trials, Jace the Mind Sculptor, all that good stuff, right? So that's what I really like about Vendilion Click. Of course, we're sticking with a 3 Cryptic Command here because Cryptic Command absolutely does not, replace Jace the Mind Sculptor or vice versa. They play completely separate roles, so it's important not to trim your Cryptic Commands just because of that, right? The format is different than Legacy. Cryptic Command is one of the best cards a blue deck can have. So if you're Jeskai Control, Esper Control, Blue-White Control, Grixis Control, 3 to 4 Cryptic Command is exactly where you want to be. And Blue-White has historically played 3 Cryptic Command, and that's where I'm staying. Then we have Sphinx's Revelation as our top end, and of course Gideon Jura as I mentioned before. So, in terms of the sideboard here, 2 Dispel, 3 Negate. I'm playing a lot of Negates here because I feel like it's going to be one of the best ways to answer Jace the Mind Sculptor. But Negate is also just a great sideboard tool as it is. But 4 Negates in the 75 gives us a lot of ways to fight over Jace the Mind Sculptors. 2 Stony Silence, 2 Rest in Peace. Just as some great hate cards. Settle the Record is a 4th sweeper against humans, as well as Dredge. A 2nd click here to help the big mana and control matchups and the combo matchups. Celestial Purge is ideally here for Blood Moon decks, for Liliana decks, for Death Shadow, etc., etc. A Geist here is a clock against big mana and combo, and then Elspeth. Disdainful Stroke also for big mana, and then Elspeth here is for the more mid-rangey control decks of the format, right? Because especially with Jace Unbanned and Bloodbraid Unbanned, we might see a resurgence of both Jund and other blue-based control decks. If you can get an Elspeth to resolve in those matchups, it can really be game over. So that's the rationale here for Elspeth Sun's Champion. We're already kind of trying to think ahead in terms of what the metagame might be like, but we absolutely can't know for sure, right? So we're just kind of testing that, and we're only going to be trying the sideboard in one matchup, right? Red, Green, Tron. So how can we say that that's really going to be useful? We don't know. Anyways, whew. That's the deck tech with blue-white control. Thank you all so much for watching it. I really do appreciate it. And stay tuned for 2 matches against Red Green Tron, right? So you're gonna see one match against Red Green Tron. That's best of 3, and following that will be another match against Red Green Tron, best of 3. And again, this is to try to reduce some of the variance that you get, right? Because any deck can win one match, right? Opponent can get bad draws and things like that. So we're going to try to reduce the variance by hopefully just playing multiple matches and seeing how the decks play out against each other, and whether Jace the Mind Sculptor actually has a relevant impact in the game. And even if it doesn't necessarily mean that Jace is bad in blue-white control. It just means that we shouldn't overvalue it, especially in the broad field that is Modern. Okay, thank you all so much for watching this deck tech, and stay tuned for the matches coming up in just a second. I'll see you guys. Okay, looks like we're back here for the first match with blue-white control with Jace the Mind Sculptor in it. This hand, really greedy. Yeah, it's on the draw, but I think we can get better 6s, and that doesn't get much better than this. Yeah, hopefully we get a land on top of our deck here with our Scry 1. Otherwise, man, I'd love to keep Escant on top. I'd love to, but I think. Oh, Tron. Oh, hello. Yeah, so I'm playing against a John here, and I have no idea what he's on, obviously. But now I know. It's some form of Tron. Maybe it's Eldrazi Tron, or some form of green-black Tron, or mono-green Tron. Alright. Let's just go ahead and lead on Serum Visions here. We do have the Spreading Seas, we got Mana Leak, we got a lot of good stuff going here. Probably don't want Verdict. I'll take a 3rd land, though. If we can dodge 1 turn of Tron, obviously our opponent... Wow, okay, so this is great for us here. Could we safely tap out for Search for Escanta here? You know, that's interesting. We might just be better off hitting their Urza's Tower and digging deeper into our deck here. Come on, Magic Online. Yeah, I think I'm actually okay with this line instead. This just really slows them down. I don't know why Magic is flagging so much here, but looks like my opponent is searching up for an Urza's Tower. Makes sense to replace the one that was just hit. Ooh, getting into the Trials. That's a pretty good clock on them, actually. Hopefully there's no Oblivion Stone here. Right, Chromatic Star, sure. And land is great, right? It lets us go Mana Leak. Mana Leak Iskanta next turn, and maybe even Gideon on turn 5. Let's just go ahead and... I doubt my opponent is playing, you know, Bolt in their Tron deck, but you never know. You never know. So, better safe than sorry here. Alright. Could my opponent have found an Ancient Stirrings? Sure. And now what will be scary is, like, Tron land into another Ancient Stirrings. And that's when, you know, things get really scary. Okay, but so far, none of that. So let's go ahead and make Gideon a creature. Dash in there for 4. Get a clock on my opponent. Hopefully my opponent doesn't have natural Tron. Ooh. Opponent missing a land here is huge. No. That is... So I was thinking about tapping out for Gideon here, but I think I'd rather just Field of Ruin that Urza's Tower on my opponent's draw step. Again, I'm not sure why I'm lagging here, guys, so I do apologize for that, but let's just go ahead and Field of Ruin. And the reason we do it on draw step is because our opponent might draw a land here. And we don't want to basically thin their deck before they get to draw that land. Here, let's just get a basic Plains. Okay, so they hit another Urza's Mine, which is not an Urza's Tower. So the question is it safe to play Gideon next turn? Because that means we have lethal. Ooh, wow. No. I'll keep it on top. I'll play it. Again, we're pretty okay against a Worm Coil. And our opponent can't get Tron next turn, so I feel pretty okay with what's happening here. And I would like to conceal this Field of Ruin here, just because. Come on, deck. Magic Online. Okay, I'm not sure my opponent really has any draws at this point that gets them out of this. I guess Thragtusk would do it, because we don't have a Colonnade. So, like, land plus Thragtusk. Wow, yeah, that'll do it. Alright, let's go ahead and take it to game 2 here. I'm going to go ahead and restart Magic Online once again because it's lagging quite a bit, so I'll be right back, guys. Okay, looks like we're back in here, guys. We're up against Red-Green Tron, so let's go ahead and sideboard accordingly. I like to cut my Supreme Verdicts here. Wrath of God definitely gets cut. We can cut some number of Path to Exile. Actually, let's go ahead and first cut Wall of them before we do that. What do we want to bring in? Right, Geist definitely comes in. Click definitely comes in. Again, these are clocks. Negates, very useful against the that side of our opponent's deck. And Stroke, also very useful. We do have a pair of Stony Silences as well, so those could definitely be useful. Here in this matchup, we probably should cut some number of Path to Exiles, but not all of them, because we do want an answer to Wormcoil Engine and Worldbreaker. So let's go ahead and get the most important pieces in here. Then, in terms of what we want to cut, so D-Sphere answers like their Planeswalker threats and things like that, so I think we want to keep that. Iskanta can be okay. And I think Mana Leak is just too important, even as bad as it might be in the late game. I do think we want one Stony Silence on the draw, and maybe we can cut like a Mana Leak for it. Maybe we can just cut one Search for his Canto for it. Or no. Alright, I'm going to keep the searches. I'm actually going to cut one D-Sphere for it. And hopefully our flurry of 2 mana counterspells can get us there in this game. Obviously, Field of Ruins are great. Spreading Seas are great. That's a great way to beat them, but it doesn't always, win, right? So we need a clock. What we had that game was a clock. And this, I don't know if you can draw it up any better, right? We have turn 2 Spreading Seas, turn 3 Geist, turn 4 Field of Ruin, / Cryptic Command. That's a keep to me. I wonder if my opponent kept in their Pyroclasms. That would be really interesting to know. Chromatic Sphere. Sure. Let's go ahead and play an island and pass. Here we're representing Spell Snare, which means that we could hit our opponent's Sylvan Scrying here. Depending on how nutty my opponent's draw is, we might not be able to cast Geist on turn 3. Because we'd have to go turn 2 Spreading Seas, turn 2 Field of Ruin. Turn 3 Field, yeah. So, this seems like a spot where we really have to be careful. So our opponent naturally played both of these Tron lands, so it's really just a shot in the dark on which one we should Spreading Seas. Another Field of Ruin, wow. So they played this on turn 1. I'm going to hit the Urza's Power Plant. Really, there's no science to it, but we really needed that Spreading Seas to obviously be alive here. Oblivion, Blood Sun, oh my god! No, my Field of Ruins! I can't do anything. Well, we can always bounce Blood Sun, like end of turn. Alright, so we have a clock. Our opponent doesn't have Tron next turn, and we're sitting on triple Cryptic Command. So if we can dodge Pyroclasm right now, we might be okay. Urza's Tower. Sure. Oh, well. Looks like our opponent's going to have Tron next turn. And that's obviously very scary. Chromatic Sphere, sure. So our hope is that they don't have Ulamog. Now, Ulamog's not the end of the world, but it's pretty close to it. I wonder if I should have played my land first. I don't think there's any shenanigans my opponent can really do here, but I wonder if, yeah, I'll actually just play the island here. Alright, so if we can dodge something big here, right, they'll have 7, 8, 9 mana. So 9 mana is still pretty good, but what we could do here is even like counter bounce Blood Sun, depending on the amount of mana my opponent spends here. If it's a Wormcoil Engine, then that would obviously be very, very awkward, right? It wouldn't work that way. Let's just make sure we're not auto-yielding here. Our opponent like slams an Ugin and we cry. This could be a World Breaker. Yeah, World Breaker is really good here. But we'll go ahead and counter it and return counter target spell. Turn target permanent to Tunder's hand. And here we can blow up a Tron land. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have like a Sylvan Scrying right now. Hopefully they don't have a Pyroclasm here right now. Okay. Green for an Ancient Stirrings, yep. Let's see what our opponent finds here, because next turn we can go Field of Ruin and keep up Mana Leak. That might be enough for one turn. Keyword here, might be. Karn Liberated. Yep, that's scary for sure. Scary for sure. I guess I should have played out my Mystic Gate here. And here we can hit the Urza's Tower, I guess. Doesn't make that huge of a difference. If my opponent has another tower here, then we're in tough shape, right? Rough shape is the word I'm looking for here. Not tough shape. Definitely not in tough shape. Yeah, so this gets around Mana Leak here. The good thing is, though, if they try to jam Karn, we do have Mana Leak available. And Geist could just get there. Chromatic Sphere, sure. Wow, Disdainful Stroke actually makes me feel like I should take him off of Tron here again. Because what could really get me here is like Oblivion Stone, but I think just taking them off of more mana should be fine. I guess I could have done that. Oh wow, they only have 1 green mana? Huh. Alright, now Disdainful Stroke, unless they have just, you know, more stuff here. Like another Sylvan Scrying, yeah. I can't beat that. I mean, can't counter it, obviously. So that into Oblivion Stone would be the beating here, right? That would be the way my opponent gets back into this game. But looks like they might be forced into playing Blood Sun here. 5, 6. Yeah. I'll go ahead and just stroke that. And yep, that's how you beat Tron, right? As blue-white. So it's not as an abysmal matchup as we might think, and obviously we didn't see Jace there, but this is not the kind of matchup where Jace shines anyways. Anyways, thanks for watching that, and maybe there's going to be another one. I think the pattern is here, as you saw 2 matches with Sultai Jace, now you'll see probably 2 matches with blue-white.